Okay, so today what we're going to be doing is we're going to be looking over a couple things that you'll be doing for this course. We're going to be looking at creating a document using Google Documents, which you've already done already. You've had some practice with that, but just some basics in opening one and getting the information on there. And we're also going to look at a little bit at the Chicago Manual of Style and the footnoting techniques that we'll be using for these projects. So once again, we're going to learn how to create a Google document. We're going to use the Chicago Manual of Style formatting and use footnoting to cite our sources. Okay, so let's get started here. Let's create a document. Okay, so I'm going to create and click on document. And as the document comes up, this is what you will see on your screen. It may look different up in this section here because depending on how wide your screen is, it'll show more and more information. But for now, this is all that we need. So we're going to title this paper. I'll call it paper number 1. Get my text paper number 1. Okay. So that saves it as that in your Google folder, Google Drive folder. And then for the header, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Insert a Header. And for the purpose of this class, what you'll be doing, you'll be putting your last name. So I'll put my last name, first initial, the class that we're taking, 17A, History 17A, and then the section. So depending on the section, I'll just put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, depending on whatever section it is. Then we're going to hit the hyphen key, and then we're going to go Insert, Page Number, Top of Page. And that is all you need to have on all of your papers whenever you type your papers. And then make sure that when you print it, that this does not get cut off. You could always hit Enter to bring it down one, and then it will show up on every single page. So that's how you create the document. And then just to make sure everything is set up, we're going to go to File and Page Setup. And we're going to look to see if all of our margins are 1 inch, because that's the Chicago Manual of Style information that we need. So they're 1 inch margins. Hit OK. Then for our text, we're going to hit Arial, and we're going to change it to Times New Roman. Change the type of, or the size of font to type 12. Then we're going to click on line spacing and go to double. And then for the purpose of these, every first paragraph needs to be indented. So what you can do is you can click up here in this section, right up here where the little margins are, and this little rectangle on the top. If you click on that and slide that over, it'll make every first line indented. So when you begin to write your papers, there will be no problem with the correct formatting. And you can see how it just jumps to the next line and automatically does it. So the other thing we need to make sure we do is that when we do our papers is that we put a title. So I'll say this is the title of the paper. And for this purpose of this, we're going to hit Enter. We're going to center this on the page, so it'll be centered. And the rest will be, you just enter down. We don't put big double spaces in between everything. Okay, so the next thing we're going to be talking about is footnoting. And let's see, Chicago Manual of Style is available online. And I'll put a link to that at the end of this presentation. So as you can see, we're going to be talking about the Chicago Manual of Style, which we already did, and we're going to be talking about footnoting. Okay, so the way this works is there's a lot of information that we need here when we do footnoting. So first of all, you need to have a copy of your book with the information that you'll be using. So what I did was I made a couple scans of our book here. And if I'm going to be footnoting, copying something, let's say, for example, I wanted to talk about this little section right here. So I'm going to make my little screen a little smaller. And I'm going to change this to about 75, about 90%, 75% I'll change it to, so I can make it type a little smaller there. So I have this that I've copied from a textbook. And I'm going to say something like, in his work, Schweikert, S-C-H, Schweikert, E-R, is it E-R-T? Yeah, A-R-T, excuse me. Schweikert makes many assumptions regarding the political views of the founding fathers. So that's our basic statement. We don't have to cite or do anything with that, just our basic statement. For example, Schweikart states that early political thinkers adopted civil libertarianism. Civil libertarianism. Now, even though some of these words, if you notice here, were exactly the same, I don't have to cite this because this is, I do have to cite this because this is part of what he said in his ideas. And so now that I've said Schweikart states that early political thinkers adopted civil libertarianism, I'm going to go up here to Insert, and click down, Insert Footnote. And what happens is, it puts a little superscript here, and then it drops you down to the page to start typing your citation. So what do we need for our citation? Well, all of our information for our citation is either collected on this page here. One of the page number is what we need on this page, and also on the front matter of the textbook. So if you open up your book a couple pages in, you have this whole section which has publisher, place of publication, and latest publication. So let's see, so how do we do this? So for our footnotes, what we do is we type our author's name, first name, last name. So Larry Schweikart. We'll just use his name for now. Then we put a comma, and let me zoom in a little here. So Larry Schweikart, comma, move around. Okay. Then I put the title of the book, The Patriots' History of the United States. Okay, notice that's in italics or underlined, but it's in italics, and the way you do that, you can do Control-I or come up here to More and change the font to italics. Then we're going to put a parenthesis. There we go. Put a parentheses. And what we put is we put the place of publication. So we put New York. If it's a city that's lesser known, you could put the state as well. But for now, we're just going to put New York. Then we're going to hit colon. We're going to put the publisher, which is Sentinel. We're going to put a comma. And then if you notice here, we're going to put the latest publication date. So 2014. Okay. Then once we've done that, we hit comma, and then we go back and we look at our page information here. And if you notice here, this was taken from page 99. So we click 99, period. And that's how we cite or footnote and do citing for footnotes. Now let's say I continue this, and I said, he says, for example, Schweikart states that early political thinkers adopted civil libertarianism. According to Schweikart, this meant that, I'm going to put quotation marks, that let's see here. According to Schweikart, this means that quote, the Whig fear of abusive power this means that the Whig fear of abusive power and the people's need to sustain a militia and keep and bear arms was prevalent in early American society. Okay. So if we take a look at this, let me make this out bigger here. Notice here I had part of my sentence, my words, then I quoted, and then I continued and made it all flow into one sentence. So this is an excellent way to be able to just kind of summarize but use the words as well. So what do I need to do here? Well, this is the quote right here. So at this position, I need to take, and at this place, at the end of this quote, I need to insert another footnote. Oops, insert footnote. Okay, so notice this is from the same page, same author. So there's a couple ways I could do this. I could write this as, I can abbreviate it now as just Schweikert, author's last name, page number. And that is, it's just, because it says above who it is, and I've already stated the author, that's all I need to do. The other way I could do it is, instead of writing Schweikert 99, I could put IBID, I-B-I-D, so I can go like this, I can go IBID 99, which is another way of saying look above. So you look above here at this one. But for the purposes of this these assignments, I'd rather you just put the Schweikert 99. And for each time you use his work, you don't have to. You just have to use his last name. If you're using anything else written by Schweikert, you have to clarify what the title of the work is. So that's how we do the footnoting. So now, let's say we're going to insert a bibliography to this. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a page break, and I'm going to do a bibliography. So the way we do the bibliography is we need to make sure that first we take our little first line indent and we put it back. And we take this one right here, which is our left indent, and we pull it out. So we might have to do some manipulating here, because for the purpose of the bibliography, every line needs to be, every subsequent line needs to be indented. So now what I'm going to do, a bibliography is a little bit different. Bibliography, we do not double space. So I'm going to go back here to single space. And then, for example, what the first line should always be bibliography, and I'm going to center that. Okay. Then I'm going to go 2 spaces in between and go back to indent on the left hand side. So for the purposes of this, it's all alphabetical, and we do author's last name. So we're going to go Schweikert, comma, Larry, period. So it's different than the commas. We're still going to put the Patriots History of the United States. Patriots History of the United States, period. New York is the publication city, colon, Sentinel, comma, 2014. And the difference is we don't have to put any page numbers, because this is the correct citation. Now, let's say I pick a different book. Let's say I have a book on a shelf right here. So let's see one that has a long title. Okay. Well, actually, I could have said, if this one went longer, the Patriots History of the United States, and I put here from Columbus's Great Discovery to America's Age of Entitlement. Okay, so notice what happened here. As it dropped down, it indented this line right here, and that needs to be done for all bibliographical references. When you finish this one, you hit the return key and return again and put a space in between, and here is where you type your next entry. Now, you need to make sure that they're alphabetized, and you use not only works that you cited, but works that you may have referred to but did not cite. It's an exhaustive list of sources that you may or may not have reference to. So this concludes our little discussion and section on creating a document. So we learned how to create the document. We used the manual of style formatting, the double space, size 12 font, 1-inch margins. And I also showed you how to do some footnoting to cite your sources.